Okay, class, today we're going to talk about the Mississippi River. So we're going to go on over here. I'm going to click on this, and it will send us all the way to the other side of the world globe here, and it sends us right into the Mississippi River. Now, when you think of the Mississippi River, what is the first kind of thing that you first think of? Do you think of how long it is? How many states there are that go through? What the Mississippi is used for? You think of how big it is, how wide? Yeah. Okay, those are definitely some good things to think about. What we're going to talk about today are a few different things. We're going to talk about how long the Mississippi is. We're going to talk about how many different states it can run through, and also what the Mississippi River is used for. So we're going to go right here. This right here, you see this squiggly line right here that moves around? This is actually the Mississippi River. And it doesn't go in just a straight line, right? It has sometimes it curves around and the embankments and things like that. So it goes all the way down. So we're going to scroll out here a little bit so we can still kind of see. When we see all the different states here, we're going to scroll in just a little bit so we can still see all these state names so we can see. So here's Mississippi right here. And if we see like right along here, we have our little marker there. There's a couple there. But this is the Mississippi River. We're going to go here. We're going to actually move this up. This right here is the Gulf of Mexico. This is where the Mississippi River drops into. So that's where all the water drains into, is right here in this part of the ocean. And if we come out here, then you have the larger, the ocean that goes in. So how many, let's take a vote or poll. We're going to see how many states we think that the Mississippi runs through. Okay? Okay, so we have our total now. So some of us think that it runs through 11 states. We have 6, we have 5, we have 3, and we also have 9. So there's a lot of different varieties about how many states we think that the Mississippi runs through. So let's go through here, and we're actually going to calculate. We actually, you can't quite see the river really in here, but the Mississippi River starts up here in Minnesota. So let's keep track of how many states we go through. So we have Minnesota, so that's 1. Then one's going to come down, and it's going to come through Wisconsin. So that's 2. It actually comes, sometimes it doesn't go through it, but it's definitely by it. So it's going to go kind of around it or next to it. The ones that sometimes they border it. Sometimes it actually cuts across the state and will go all the way through the state. But sometimes it just runs through a little bit of it. So we started here with Minnesota as 1. Wisconsin is 2. Then we go down through right here by Iowa. So we're at 3. We get to Illinois. We're at 4. We get Missouri right here because it goes right here in this part of Missouri. But also gets Kentucky right here. This little part right here next to Kentucky. So what's that make it? What number are we at now? So we have 6, right? So we have 6, and then we get through here at Tennessee at number 7. And we get some in Arkansas, which is this right here, which you can't go like this. You can see a little bit pops in Arkansas there, the name. Oh, let's go this way. There we go. So we get Arkansas is 8. Then we get, of course, it has to go through Mississippi, right? Because it's called the Mississippi River. So it goes right here, going along this way by Mississippi. And then it gets Louisiana also before it comes all the way out right in here to the Gulf of Mexico. So how many states did we get? 10. That's right. We have 10 states that the Mississippi goes by. Either it goes right next to it, so the borders along the state, or sometimes it went through the state, huh? So let's talk about how long this is, right? If we go through 10 states, it's got to be a really long river, right? So we're going to scroll out here a little bit. Because we're going to start up here in Minnesota. And it's going to come all the way down, all the way through to there. So let's talk about in miles. Sometimes we'd have a mile. So there's that's a long ways, right? We have to run the mile when we go to PE. We go around the tracks or around the school or around a path. So that's how we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about miles. So let's do some guessing again, or estimate, okay? And we'll make a tell again here on the board about how long we think that the Mississippi River is. Okay, so some of us guessed in hundreds of miles. Some we got a thousand miles. So we got some really short miles that's not very big, and some we have really long. But most we all pretty much guessed really long miles, huh? Because it's a really long river. So depending, sometimes people have, just like we have different guesses on the Mississippi, there's some people that take surveys, like the Geological Survey. They talk about the earth and the things around it. And the EPA, which is Environmental Agency, they have different guesses too. There's not one precise um, exact thing for about how long the Mississippi River is. People have different guesses, just like we did. So if we talk about, I'm gonna talk about four of them. There's four different places or people, groups of people that have different opinions about how long the Mississippi River is. So in the state park, the Itasa State Park, they say that it is 2,552 miles long. Then another one, the Geological Survey, they say it's 2,300. So that's a little bit shorter than the other one. And the Environmental Agency, they say that it's 2,320 miles. And then the last one, the Minnesota National River Park, they say it's 2,350. So but we're all pretty close. We're in 2,000 miles, right? So they're all pretty close. They're all just kind of off by a couple hundred miles. So depending on kind of where they start or how the river kind of curves, they're going to get a little bit of different. But let's go ahead and we're going to go right here. We're going to go in this right here. This is a picture of an old map in 1775. This is what the map would have, or this is what the Mississippi River would have looked like when back a long time ago. So, not really what I wanted to do. Whoop. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see here. We're going to open this up a little bit. What we can see, we scan this a little bit. It's a really big map, huh? So it goes all the way through. Up here, the same thing. So it's going to lay over. This is exactly what it looked like in 1775. So sometimes you can see that the rivers are a little bit different here. How it curves right here. This river came in and joined. So it's going to go all the way down. So it's pretty close. But if we look right here, the state lines are a little bit different. And so the Mississippi has changed a little bit. Because when we talked about the weather and how things change, and sometimes things get moved and the water moves and the wind helps it and the rocks and stuff move like that. And so that's what makes it move a little bit. So we talk about how long it is. Sometimes also the length, about how far, how wide something is. And that's going to be definitely different. So sometimes how wide it is, in some spots it is 11 miles wide. That's a really long far away, huh? That's like going from here at our school all the way to the next school, huh? The next elementary school. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna show you one other thing here. We'll talk about riverboats, a little bit about what the river's used for. People used it to travel on a long time ago. They used it and they had little tiny boats, but now they have these big boats. These ones are river boats, and they had the water that spun through it. But they're still commercial, which is people that are in businesses. They use it to take their goods from one place to the next. So they're at the top of the Mississippi River, and they want to bring it all the way down up here. They'll put stuff on a boat, on a ship, and they'll make it have it run all the way down, and they can get all the way to Louisiana, and the goods, so that you could have sometimes food there. And they can actually start here in Louisiana, and they can get, you like fish and shrimp and things like that, and they can take it and they can send it up the river. So there's a few of the things that we can do on the Mississippi.